Hello, it is Writing Wednesday, and we are going to dive into a few things of writing in the real world, but talking about opinion essays, looking at opinion essays that are out there where they are using different kinds of things to support their reasons. I'm going to share my screen and we will get going here. Here we go. So, characteristics of an opinion essay. If you've been following along the Writing Wednesday tutorials, we've been going through the various characteristics of an opinion essay. And today we're talking about the fact that the reasons need to be logical, objective, and based in facts, evidence, observation, or experience. So, we want it to be somewhat logical, otherwise people aren't going to want to read it. They'll think you're ridiculous. Objective, so you do, even with your opinion, you do want to stand back a little bit and say, it's not only me that thinks this. There needs to be some either fact, some evidence, observation that you've made, or experience. Those are the kinds of things people will accept when they are reading your opinion and they are connecting with what you're saying. They're going, oh, does this make sense? So we have a few examples of that today. So let's dive in. Again, reasons are logical, objective, and based on facts, evidence, observation, or experience. So sometimes the reasons will just be based on experience. So in my experience, this happens, or it might be fact-based. So they might have statistics. They might have proof that their reason is sound. But above all, it needs to be logical. It needs to present the case from point to point so that it is solid. There needs to be some objectivity, even if it's with experience, so you can stand back and look. And is there some evidence? Did you observe something? Maybe you saw something happen to somebody else, and that's what formed your opinion. But again, back to that logic. All right, the first one we are going to look at today is this opinion essay. It is from the New York Times. It says, "What we lose when work gets too casual." And we're only looking for how they support their opinion. What kind of reasons do they give? So I'm going to go to that link. Just one moment, and we will share the actual document, the actual article. Here we go. So here we are at the New York Times. You can find this article online, "What We Lose When Work Gets Too Casual." So right away, we have an idea of what the article is going to be talking about. And we want to check for their reasons. What reasons are they giving? So as you go through, there's lots of things we could discover in this piece, but we're only looking for what kind of reasons they give for their point of view. So we're going to skim. Love this picture. That's totally what it feels like, work and home colliding. And let's see what the author, Elizabeth Spears, says. So she sets it up. "Like so many with a desk job, I've spent the pandemic working from home." Okay, we know what's going on. And usually if you're scanning, if you look at the first and last sentence, you'll get sort of the idea of what's going on. "For so-called knowledge workers, the slide into casual work culture has been happening for decades." Okay, but COVID accelerated the trend by demonstrating that some office requirements are arbitrary and counterproductive and make workers palpably miserable. So there's what she is saying. That is her thesis. That's what she's going to try to prove. Let's see here. There are trade-offs. The loss of workplace formalities like fixed stop and start times. She goes on and on. On the surface, for example, remote work appears to give workers more freedom. So she's more talking about the time. But let's see when she's going to dive into what we lose when work gets too casual. So not just about clothes, but also about, here we go. On the surface, for example, remote work appears to give workers more freedom to do their work wherever and whenever they choose. But even though employees may feel more productive when they work from home, here we are, we may just be working more, not more efficiently. So remember, we want reasons that are logical, objective, or based on facts, evidence, observation, or experience. And here she is going to cite some study or idea, research and idea. You're right, we're working longer and attending more meetings. A 2020 Harvard Business School study. So now she's giving us a study that is supporting her opinion. So that's good. Employers have an incentive to embrace this round-the-clock culture because it allows them to squeeze more work out of their employees. That's an opinion? Let's see how it's supported. What reason or support? It allows them to exploit people who can no longer check out when the workday is supposed to be over or they need to take time off. So here they've outlined something. There's a link that is to something that is supporting. Your home is no longer the office. The office is now your home. Then it talks about another thing. Another pandemic accelerated trend is the flattening of hierarchies. And the author has given us links to something else that's going to support her reasons. And let's see if the reasons are logical. Top level employees manage their front lines directly rather than through a pyramid of middle managers. Okay. Let's see if she goes on to say anything else. It also seems like a benefit. Now let's see, reasons. We're looking for reasons. Ooh, but it often means employers can punt on providing workers with paths to advancement, especially if they're younger and less experienced. Ooh. Talking about junior employees. These workers have the least ability to push back. Okay, and again, at the beginning, what we lose when work gets too casual. So that is the underlying theme is loss. So the trade-off, there are trade-offs. Loss of workplace formalities with fixed start and stop times, managerial hierarchies with clear paths, and professional norms. So throughout this article, she takes those three items and gives reasons for her opinion. Let's look at that final one. The COVID lockdown has also contributed to the erosion of boundaries between coworkers because we're all invited into one another's homes thanks to video conferencing. So we have her opinion there, and now she's going to give us some observations of what she's observed. You finally get to see where Tyler from Quality Assurance lives, whether you want to or not. And then it goes on, talking about who it's affecting, giving some reasons, but the reasons are logical. They are maybe not objective. They're based on more observation or experience, but there are hard facts, and she has things to back that up. Okay, so you can go ahead and read that article. It is very interesting. Sometimes when we're just going through, picking it apart, looking for specific things, you don't get the full power of the article. But this is just to show that you can take an article out in the wild and you can say, oh, what does an opinion piece need to have in it? Does this have it in? It's not always a 5-paragraph essay. It's not always 250 words. Obviously, this is substantially longer. And we can see what writing looks like in the wild, so that when we go and write our own opinion piece, we go, oh, okay, I need to be able to support this. This needs to be logical. Is this going to make sense to the reader? What have I observed? How can I include that in the writing? Now let's look at the next one. This one is from BBC, the small cities and towns booming from remote work. So we're kind of carrying on with that remote work theme. So let's have a look. And this one is more like a personal story. So the reasons here for their opinion are things that not only we'll see some facts and evidence, but we'll also have some observation or experience, and then logical, like it needs to make sense. Are they actually booming from remote work? Let's go to that article. I'm going to share that screen. And here we go. So Mark Johansson wrote this article not that long ago. The new world of remote jobs has towns, small towns and cities exploding with growth as workers explore alternatives to big metropolitan areas. Is this good or bad? Okay, so we have an opinion. We are going to be hearing his opinion. Is this good or is this bad? And let's see what kind of reasons he's giving for his opinion. So he's talking about this lockdown. He's in Chile and he's the owner of a travel company. 3 months later, he rented a house somewhere else. Now they spend their free time biking, hiking, and stand-up paddleboarding. Okay, so he specifically moved. So that is proof, that is direct experience that is backing up his opinion. Of course, the move has not been without its challenges. So then he goes on to talk about some of the challenges. Now, at the beginning, it says that towns and cities are exploding with growth as workers explore alternatives to big metropolitan areas. Is it good or bad? So he's telling some of the downside, and he's giving some reasons, and they're logical. They're going to make sense to us. Talking about lies in a black hole. So he's having trouble with his internet. Okay, that makes sense. And he hasn't escaped traffic because there's all this tourism. So these are some of the downsides, and he's giving his personal experience with that. Now, here is a fact. More than 380,000 people migrated away from the Chilean capital during the first year of the pandemic. There you go. There's proof that this has happened. And why. Then you get, now we have some problems. It's possible to live in live in areas that haven't historically offered jobs for certain professionals. So here we see the opportunity, and it's also backing up being logical, like, well, why would people move to these areas? In the past, it hasn't been possible. Now we can work remotely, but there's two sides to it. So it's talking about the good and it's talking about the bad, meaning that it's injecting money into these other cities. But now we have the housing. So that's a problem. And it goes through logically, step by step through this problem. And you can see by all of the highlights here, if we were to take the time, we could go, oh, that's where he gets his information. That's where he gets his information. All of these links that back up his reasons for his opinion. With the shift that's been going on over the last year, we're seeing wealth move into these communities. Okay, so now we have some observation that is also backing up this reason. An opportunity. And Let's see here. Whenever you see blue, your eyes kind of go to it and you can see, oh, okay, that's going to be something that backs up a point. It talks about different areas, Europe, Ireland, Japan. And if you're just skimming that first line of each paragraph, you'll get some ideas. Will they go or stay? So he presented all of this idea that people are moving to more remote areas. And then he's done the good and the bad. He's weighed it out. He's given reasons. Will they go or will they stay? Of course, the question in Japan and around the world remains the same. Will those who relocate to small towns and secondary cities stay once the pandemic subsides? We don't know. But then he's going to give his opinion further there. And as he ends off, he has no plan of giving up his new life in the resort town anytime soon. For a family like ours that is really connected with nature, he says, this is exactly the life we wanted. So let's see if that ties it back together. Did he give us enough reasons to support his idea that this is this new world of remote jobs and small towns and cities are exploding with growth? And is it good or bad? So I think he accomplished his task. The reasons were logical throughout. He had supporting pieces of information. There were links out that we could look at. And above all, it was experiential. This is what he experienced. This is what he did. And so on. All right. Let's have a look at the next one. So we have one more. I always like to give 3 examples so that one might resonate and you might see, oh, okay, that's how I do it. How to become a super ager. I thought this was interesting. And it's an opinion piece. Let's see what kinds of reasons. How do you become this? So now reasons. Let's see what the opinion is in this piece. I'm going to open up the article. Let me share. Here we go. This is again from the New York Times. And Lisa Feldman Barrett wrote this back in 2016, How to Become a Super Ager. So at the beginning, we have the setup. Think about the people in your life who are 65 or older, experiencing mental difficulties, and you can just sort of scan. Why do some older people remain mentally nimble while others decline? Okay, so there's the big question. We're seeing why are some mentally nimble, others decline? And my colleagues and I at Massachusetts General Hospital recently studied. So remember, we need the reasons that need to be supported. They need to be logical. If we have facts, that's great. If we have experience, that's great. If we have observation. And here, if we click out on this, we will get information about this study. Our lab used functional magnetic resonance imaging to scan and compare the brains of 17 super ages with those of other people of similar age. Okay, so going on to explain how this is being done. This is supporting the opinion. This is logical. This is explaining what is happening. And if you read the article, it's quite interesting as she expands. And we learn why she's going to say what she's going to say later on. So because of their discovery, they debunked this idea of cognitive versus emotional brain regions. And then she goes on, lists the name of a doctor from the 1940s who talked about this previous brain model. And then she's going to say, why are people super agers? It's not actually because of that, although this triune brain remains popular. Then she goes on, our research demonstrates that these major hub regions play a meaningful role in superaging. Now, here's the thing. The thicker these regions of cortex are, the better a person's performance on tests of memory, etc. So she's saying this is what it used to be, and here's all the proof that that used to be the case. Now we've done this new study, and here's actually what we found. The big question is, how do you become a superager? So this is opinion based on facts, based on scientific studies, evidence, and observation. Because the observation, her father-in-law swims every day and plays a bridge tournament. So you can keep these regions thick and healthy through vigorous exercise and bouts of strenuous mental effort. So she's saying that, and then she's going to back that up. And again, you can see the blue. Anytime there's the blue link, she's linked out to something. In the United States, we are obsessed with happiness, but as people get older, research shows they cultivate happiness by avoiding unpleasant situations. Now, we're going to get this final opinion. If people consistently sidestep the discomfort of mental effort, this restraint can be detrimental to their brain. So she's arguing for the fact that you should do hard things. Make a New Year's resolution to take up a challenging activity. Work that brain, make it a year to remember. So there she has gone through and given us not only how to become a superager, but what was it before and all the studies there. What are the new studies? And she has supported her opinion well. All right, let's go back here. Perfect. So over the last couple of weeks, we've been talking about the characteristics of an opinion essay. These are the 5 that we're going to get through over time. The opinion is broad enough to require support, but narrow enough to support in the lengths required. So we've seen some opinion essays that are quite long. They've also had an opinion that's broad enough that required all of that support. Organization, so that we are going to tackle next week. But we have also provided all the major reasons that are understandable to the reader. And as we've gone through the opinion essays today, the reasons that they have brought to the forefront are reasons that as a reader, we go, oh yeah, that makes sense. That makes sense. Yes. They weren't leaving things out. Reasons support your opinion, not restate it. So they didn't just keep saying the same thing over and over and over. They supported it. They said, this is the thing. Now I support it. Here's how you become a superager, and here's the support. And today, primarily talking about the fact that these reasons that are supporting the opinion are logical, objective, based on facts, evidence, observation, or experience. Now, it's your turn. So here are a couple of essay prompts. Choose one or find one somewhere else. That's fine too. Why is basketball better than soccer? Do you have logical, objective, fact-based, or experientially based, or observation-based reasons for your opinion? What about this one? Social media enhances understanding between people of different cultures. Do you agree? Disagree? Why? Make sure your reasons are logical. And a college education is a waste of money. There's something controversial. Agree? Disagree? You're going to need some reasons that are logical, objective, based on facts, especially depending on the topic. If you're going to tell me a college education is a waste of money, you're going to need to back that up. That probably can't just be from observation or experience. You're going to need some facts. When I say, why is basketball better than soccer? That might be more observation or defining the word better. And then it might be experiential. But maybe it's, why is basketball better than soccer? Well, basketball is better than soccer if, and then you have some experiential or observational reasons. You can use writesimply.io to write your essay. You can go there, sign up, and select an opinion essay, and it will guide you through the whole writing process. I hope this Writing Wednesday tutorial has been helpful. I hope that you will be writing your essays and let me know how it goes. Until next time, keep writing.